What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Recher Reacts. I am Jay Recher. Hope everybody is having a wonderful Thursday night. It is 11 p.m. Eastern time. I tell you what, I'm jacked up right now after watching the Olympics, the 110-meter hurdles. I mean, it's amazing to watch these guys run as fast as they do and jump over hurdles at the same time. It's insane. It's insane. I have such a good time watching it. I hope you do too. Representing the good old USA. So, really, really fun stuff there. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at JRetro. Plenty to get into today. We're going to touch on a little bit of everything on the program, not just tonight, but every single time you join me here on Retro Reacts, and we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So make sure you share this on all of your social media platforms for me. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well, and leave some comments here on the stream, and I'll do my best to get to them. Yeah, man, excited to be here with you guys, and we're going to talk a little bit of football today. We're talking some new NFL kickoff rules. I got a chance to talk to Jay Camarda of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after day 12 of training camp today. I'm going to play some of the audio, play the video actually that uh, I got from today. And do you know like what these NFL kickoff rules entail, these new ones? Not many people do, and you're not the only one, right? Jay Camarda is still learning on the fly as well. So we'll get to that. Also, why America's team and Jerry Jones is just screwing up once again. Um, Team USA, what a thrilling comeback victory over Serbia. Of course, we got to get into that. NHL Network just put out a list of their top goalies in the National Hockey League. Guess who's not number one? Yeah, Andre Vasilevsky. So we will get into that. And then one my one last thing, and it is about Rays closer Pete Fairbanks. And really cool to see the Rays show some fight there in St. Louis, avoid getting swept with a big win over the Cardinals today. They return home tomorrow night against Zach Eflin and the Baltimore Orioles. Of course, you can hear that on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. We are the home of the Tampa Bay Rays. But let's start with Jake Camarda and these new NFL kickoff rules, and we get it, right? We understand why the NFL wanted to do this. They're trying to prevent these players running at full speed from 20, 30, 40, 50 yards away and just these car crashes. So you figure if you start these guys closer to the return guys, you're going to prevent some of these long distance collisions. But does anybody really understand what these rules are? Like, you kind of get the idea. Like, okay, we understand. Like, you go this far, these guys are this far apart. They can't move until the ball's, uh, you know, touched by the returner. But even the guys in the National Football League are having issues. Kind of, I don't want to say issues, but they're still learning. There's before tonight, there was only one game. That was the Hall of Fame game. And then you saw a couple of games tonight with the Giants and the Lions and the Patriots and the Panthers. But I don't know if everybody really still grasps what these rules are. So I got a chance to talk to Buccaneers punter Jake Camarda, who handles the kickoff duties for our Buccaneers. And just listen to what he had to say about him and see if maybe it clears it up a little bit.
What's the biggest adjustment for the new kickoff rule? This is fans around the league are still trying to figure out what it is, and you're going to be the guy that's smack dab in the middle of it.
I think the fans are trying to learn. I think we're trying to learn. We had the refs out here all week, and we were just asking constant questions all the time to them about, hey, what's the rule about this? Or, hey, what's the rule about this? Or, hey, what can you tell me? Or having them even ask us questions like about what we're trying to do and stuff like that, just so we can have a greater understanding of what to do. We're still learning every single day. So if I were to tell you right now that I know everything that's going to happen and everything that we're going to do, I don't. It's such a learn. We've only seen it in one game so far in the preseason, so we're just excited to continue learning, especially throughout the preseason, and just see what it's going to look like and see where we can take them.
Do you think there's more or less of a chance that you're going to get in on some tackling then with the new rules?
It's funny. Everybody has brought that up to me. I think it's I don't think it changes that much. I think you're going to have more returns, which obviously is going to mean there's technically more chances to tackle. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think, just from my point of view, it doesn't look that much different to me because the guys are still getting down there. It's maybe a 5-yard difference, I think, in where the guys would have been, where they are now. So we'll just see what happens, but I mean, yeah, I guess if there's more returns, there's always a chance I can get on some more.
So there's Jay Camarda and his 2 cents on the new kickoff rules. And I'm a firm believer that whoever adjusts to this the best early on in the season, I mean, it could dictate games, it could dictate wins, and then in the long run, it could decide whether a team makes the playoffs or not, or affect seeding, who gets that first round bye or not. The special teams coaches, man, they are going to be in the crosshairs. Who is going to make those adjustments early on, and that benefits the team? And you look at the situations with certain teams and certain players that are involved in the kickoff coverages now. And I remember before he got banged up last week, Yaya Diaby told me, Buccaneers second year outside linebacker, big time pass rusher, he looked at me and said, Coach Todd Bowles is looking at these new kickoffs as defensive plays. We're not just throwing a bunch of guys that are quote unquote special teams players. That's usually, backup receivers, backup corners, backup safeties, backup linebackers. Coach Bowles and the Bucks, at the very least, are looking at these plays as kind of the first offensive slash defensive play of the game. And I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's wrong. I don't even know if Coach Bowles knows if that's right or wrong, but that's how they're going to play it. And looking at some of the kickoffs tonight, and mind you, Jake made those comments earlier today before the two other games tonight. I don't know. Did you really see that much of a difference? I mean, if a guy pops one and goes for a long touchdown, he's going to be running a pretty long distance by himself on the field. But there also seems to be a lot of congestion there. And if everything is kind of blocked up and guys stay in their lanes, yeah, we might see more kickoff returns. But if the kickoff returns don't go for long distances and guys are starting their drives, you know, shy of the 20, shy of the 30-yard line, is that really what the NFL wants? I mean, yeah, you want returns, you want the possibility for, these long gains and touchdowns because they're so thrilling. But what you don't want is you don't want these returns to happen and these offenses starting deeper and deeper in their own territory. I don't think that helps anybody at all. So it's really cool to hear Jake Camarda still in that learning process. You love to hear him so transparent, so honest and open about, hey man, we're asking the referees, the referees are asking us. We're still trying to figure this whole thing out. So I appreciate that. I think that's pretty damn cool. And yeah, again, it's something to certainly keep an eye on going forward. Let's keep the NFL talk going, and let's talk about this young man right here, Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. And I find it so puzzling that the Dallas Cowboys, after all these years, are still a team that is considered America's team. And there's still people out there that think they're going to go deep into the playoffs and think they're going to go on this long postseason run. Well, newsflash, everybody out there, the Dallas Cowboys haven't even been to a Super Bowl since 1996. Yes, 1996. The year Nintendo invented the N64, the year the Spice Girls were at the top of the charts, and the year that gas was only $1.22 a gallon. That's a long freaking time. And you're talking about a team in the Dallas Cowboys that, listen, what's the recipe for success in the National Football League? Recipe for success in the National Football League is building in the trenches, having a strong offensive line, having a strong defensive line. That's what they've had. You think about their offensive linemen that they've had over the last couple of years, and think about Zach Martin, that's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. You think about Tyron Smith. You think about the multiple players that they've had at the center position that were good. And this is a team, and all right, the other side of the ball, you got Micah Parsons, a fantastic pass rusher. You got DeMarcus Lawrence. They've been good in the trenches. They've had guys that turn the football over. You look at how many picks have they had from their corners the last couple of years, whether it's Bland, whether it's Diggs. Like, they have some good players on the outside that turn the football over. They've had big time playmakers, whether it was Amari Cooper or Ezekiel Elliott or now CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. Like, this has been a good team, but they cannot get out of their own way. They can't. And look no further than at the top with Jerry Jones. So Jerry Jones comes out today, and after the joint practices, and I don't understand why he continues to put himself front and center. You don't hear other owners of NFL teams or other owners for other professional teams be that freaking open to the media and just it's all about him. And listen, it's your prerogative. I get it. You own the team, whatever. But if you don't think that's a distraction, you're fooling yourself. And look at today after the joint practice with the Rams as yet another example. They ask Jerry Jones, and whether it's taken out of context or not, it really doesn't matter because all you need to see, we live in that world. We live in the clip world. We live in the snippet world where sometimes that's all you see. It may be a 20-minute interview, but people are only going to see the 90-second clip. People are only going to see the 30-second clip. People are only going to see the 5-second clip. So when Jerry Jones says that the team doesn't have a sense of urgency about getting a contract extension done for CeeDee Lamb, and then CeeDee Lamb sees that on Twitter and then reposts it with LOL, and then Micah Parsons retweets it. Like, do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that's good vibes? Do you think that is a good culture there with the Dallas Cowboys? The way that they've handled the situation with CeeDee Lamb, not great. The way that they've handled this situation with Dak Prescott over the years, not great. When you're looking at CeeDee Lamb, 17 games last season, played in every game, 135 catches, most in the NFL, franchise record, 1,749 receiving yards, franchise record. And you're just kind of yo-yoing this guy around. You don't know, are you going to pay Micah? Are you going to pay Dak? Are you going to pay CeeDee? Are you going to pay any of these guys? Do you really care about Mike McCarthy? Like, I just don't understand what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. Listen, I'm not complaining. Don't misconstrue that. I hope this goes on forever. I hope it does. Keep it going, Jerry. Keep doing this. But it's just, I can't quite understand how Jerry Jones doesn't look at how he's been involved with this Dallas Cowboys team over the years and not think that he's part of the problem, not the solution. Again, they haven't even been, forget about one, they haven't even been to a Super Bowl since 1996. How does this make sense, Jerry? I don't quite get it. Look at the Buccaneers. Look at how they've handled business. Look at Antoine Winfield Jr. and Tristan Wirfs and Levante David and Mike Evans and how the Buccaneers have treated those veterans with respect, lines of communication open. That's why when you see a situation like what we saw with Devin White, it doesn't really make much sense. Whatever's coming out of Devin's mouth doesn't really seem to jive with how Jason Light and his coach and his front office have done business. Man, I bet you CD and Dak and Micah look at the Buccaneers situation and go, damn, man, why can't we be treated like that? Hey, if you're not going to get the bag, you're not going to get the bag, but at least have a conversation. If you're here in the Tampa Bay area, you know exactly how important having those conversations are. I mean, look at our hockey team here, Steven Stamkos. It's not so much about him not, last year not getting a contract extension before his contract came up. It's the fact that Julian Breezeball, the Lightning general manager, didn't even talk to him. He didn't even have a conversation with the captain. It's been here 16 years. That hurts. That's bad business. It's how you treat people in business. People say don't miss business with relationships and business with feelings. Yeah, I understand all that. But how you treat people goes a long way with how good you do business, how well you do business. And if you're constantly rope-a-doping these guys, these are the reason why you've been good in the regular season the last couple of years. And now, you know what's going to happen next year? Dak's probably going to go somewhere else. What's going to happen with CeeDee? You're going to have a disgruntled receiver who had a fantastic year last year. And that's how you're going to treat this guy? You're not going to pay Micah Parsons? We know how important pass rushers are. It's a weird dynamic. And again, for somebody that's so successful in business, in Jerry Jones, it's mind-boggling to me that he hasn't been able to see this and make the necessary adjustments. At least take a step back, put somebody else in charge. Maybe stay away from the radio, stay away from the TV hits. But as long as that happens, then America's team, quote unquote, they won't be sniffing the Super Bowl anytime soon. All right, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk a little USA basketball. If you haven't already, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Recher. But shout out to USA basketball today, and you see the coming together of the minds of LeBron James and Steph Curry there. And wow, what an incredible game that we saw today in Paris. The USA, they look like they were dead to rights. They were down by 17 to Serbia in the semifinals, and they come back for a 95-91 victory to advance to the gold medal game against France. And first off, before we talk about Team USA, I want to talk about Serbia. I want to talk about Nikola Jokic, 17 points, 11 assists, one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. And you can hate on Jokic because he doesn't look like the standard basketball player. You may think that, oh, he moves so slow and he looks doofy and he doesn't really care. He cares more about his horse. I don't care. I really do not care. That guy can absolutely ball. And it's not just about what he does, it's about how he lifts all the other players on his team. You see it in Denver with the Nuggets, with Mike Malone and his crew over there with Jamal Murray. And you see how he's elevated the games of the Aaron Gordons. And when he was there, Condavious Caldwell Pope and just all of those guys, man. That dude is the truth. Look at Serbia. They came into that game against the U.S. after losing to the U.S. previously with no fear. They balled the hell out. And I know people want to crap all over the USA, but to me, it wasn't to me about the US not playing well. It wasn't about them being fraudulent. It wasn't anything about what they didn't do. It's about what Serbia did do. Jokic was balling. Bogdan Bogdanovic, if you watch the NBA at all, that guy is an assassin. And when he's on, look out. Guys like that, they go unconscious, and there's no shot that isn't a good shot for them. And he was balling out today, and you really felt for him at the end of that game. You watched him; he had his head in his hands. He was pulling his jersey over his face. But that guy right there, Bogdanovic, has nothing to hang his head about. He was fantastic today. But I hate this conversation that we're having about the comparisons with this team and the dream team. It's like, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. The dream team was unlike any team that we're ever going to see in the history of sports. You know why? Because not only was it the compilation of the greatest players of their time, when you look at Magic and Larry on the way out, and Michael Jordan in the middle of his rise, his ascension to the greatest basketball player of all time, one of the greatest athletes we'll ever see in sports. But those guys had an impact on the game that is being felt today. They grew the game. These guys that are playing internationally, their first experience to seeing basketball, a lot of them was watching what happened with the Dream Team. Inspiration from Bird and Magic and Jordan and Barkley and Pippen and Ewing and all of those guys, David Robinson, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Chris Mullin, all of them. They caught inspiration from that. And if it wasn't them, it was their older brothers and their cousins. That's why the game has grown globally, internationally. The comparisons between the Dream Team and this team here in 2024 are impossible. And again, low-hanging fruit. I don't think we need to put down what LeBron and Curry and Durant and Joel Embiid and the whole crew with Steve Kerr. Why do we have to push them down to elevate the Dream Team? I don't need to do that. Today, if you watch the last 5 minutes of that game, that is basketball. That was the most beautiful basketball that we've seen in a very long time. And I know that there's a lot of people that have been turned off by the NBA product. I get it. I still love the NBA. Basketball is in my blood. My dad, big basketball, loves it. But that last 5 minutes, that wasn't NBA basketball. That wasn't. The NBA, sometimes it's all about the go up the court, take a three, back down the other way, take a three, defense optional, load management. There's a lot of reasons why people don't like the NBA, especially the regular season. And, at least to a certain extent, I can get it. But when you look at the last 5 minutes of the game today, it was everything that was right with basketball. The NBA was down. They were about to lose. It would have been a crippling loss. But what happened? You had 5 of the best basketball players on the planet lock in. And I'm not just talking offensively. I'm talking defensively, offensively. I know the rebounding was a little iffy, but those guys wanted it. You look at Devin Booker out there. Devin Booker proved himself. He was getting it in defensively, getting it in offensively. And then I want to talk about the other 4 guys. And we're going to start with Joel Embiid. Joel could have played for Cameroon. He could have played for France, and he's playing that up. He's playing the villain. He's a wrestling fan. He's not afraid to be a heel. But when things needed to change and an adjustment needed to be made, Joel went right after Nikola Jokic. Right after him. Had some big buckets, had a big block. And there was one play that really spoke volumes of Team USA and how those guys get it. And how, yes, they may be the most talented players in the world, but they're also the smartest. How many times you see Kevin Durant take the ball down the court and dump it to a man on the inside and let him post up and do his thing? You haven't seen that as much in his career. He hasn't played with, and even when he played with the Warriors, like they weren't dumping the ball down low to Draymond Green and to Kevon Looney. It's not taking anything away, but those guys weren't kind of post up, backing guys down, back to the basket. That KD hasn't played with a ton of guys like that. He hasn't. I mean, think about the teams that he's played with: Thunder, with the Nets, with the Suns now, with the Warriors. He hasn't had that real dominant big man that he can dump the ball down to, then back out. Hey, I'm here. If you want to kick it out to me for an open shot, I'm ready to roll. Embiid was feeling it. Durant comes down, passes the ball down to him. Some big buckets, tightens the gap for Team USA. Then you could tell Joel was feeling it a little bit, need a little bit of a breather. And then these other guys went to work. KD went to work. Astounding defense. Forced that backcourt violation. Had a nice ISO jumper. And then the two best players on the court, two of the greatest players of all time, just combined to do what they do. And it's really, really fun to see LeBron James and Steph Curry work together. USA down 2. They needed a 2 to tie, 3 to go ahead. Screen set, wide open shot for Steph Curry. And of course, he knocks it down. 2 big free throws later on in the game. The day for Steph Curry, that is a game that you won't soon forget if you watch this game. 36 points, 9 3-pointers. Again, I mentioned the 2 free throws that sealed the victory. Just an absolutely incredible performance for him. And then LeBron James, defensively, trying to do whatever it takes to hold up Jokic. And listen, I've been very critical of LeBron. You may not like some of the decisions that he's made. You may not think he's as good as Michael Jordan. I don't. I think Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. But I also think LeBron James is number 2. I don't doubt that whatsoever. 4th triple-double in Olympic history today. 16 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, passing, setting screens, taking it to the basket, tough defense, guarding everybody 1 through 5. Again, you may not like the NBA product. You may miss the 90s and the rough and tumble and the bad boys and that type of thing. And when guys shared the ball a little bit more, that's fine. But again, the last 5 minutes of that game today, that was basketball in its purest form. And the USA locked in. All 5 guys contributed to that victory. So kudos to Team USA. They advanced to the gold medal game against France. And how ironic is this? The gold medal game is on Saturday, August 10th, 2024. And I just saw this on social media, so I'm going to pass it on to you. 8, 10, 24. 8 and 24, Kobe Bryant's 2 numbers in the NBA playing for the Lakers. Number 10, the number he wore for Team USA. That, my friends, is special. All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk a little hockey now. I know it isn't hockey season, but if there's a hockey story out there, you know I am going to bring it in. The NHL Network put out this list earlier today, and when they posed this question initially about Andrei Vasilevsky, they posed it with, all right, he's been the number 1 goalie since I believe it was 2018. Who's the number 1 goalie now? And when they put that graphic out there, that got me thinking it's probably not going to be him. He's probably not going to be number 1. And the list comes out a couple hours later, and there you see the list right there. We have Linus Ullmark going from the Bruins to the Senators at 10. Predators, UC Saros at 9. Jake Ottinger at 8. Bobrovsky, the Stanley Cup winner, at 7. Thatcher Demko with the Vancouver Canucks at 6. Ilya Sorokin of the Islanders at 5. Jeremy Swayman of the Bruins at 4. Vasy there at 3. Connor Hellebuyck, the Winnipeg Jets, at 2. And then Igor Shesterkin, the Rangers netminder, at number 1. So I know that there was people out there asking, Jay, is Vasy still number 1? And right now, I have to be honest with you, I am going to agree with the list. I have long thought that Connor Hellebuyck is no worse than the second best goalie on this planet. Fantastic. Dude is nuts. He is so freaking good. And the reason why a lot of people out there don't know too much about him is because he plays in Winnipeg. If he played in the East Coast, he might be one of the most popular NHL players that we have, and he's American. So wait until we get international competition, and that guy is the backstop for Team USA. This is going to be the best team that the US has had probably in 30 years. You're going to see some incredible talent, and I can't wait to see them go up against Canada, Sweden, Finland, Russia. It's going to be nuts. But I got a lot of faith because the strength and the talent of this USA team, you could argue, is on the blue line in the net. And there's not many guys that I would take over Connor Hellebuck. Now, if you ask me if I have one goalie to win one game, a game 7, who am I taking? It's still Andrei Vasilevsky because the experience is unmatched. 2-time Stanley Cup winner, Vezina Trophy winner, constant. Like, you can't replace that type of experience. But as far as at the top of their game, Vasy's not on the top of his game right now. He's not. We're talking about for an entire season. Igor Shesterkin was incredible last year. He was. Big reason why the New York Rangers made it as far as they did. He's a great stick handler, and the Rangers probably don't make it as far as they do in the postseason without Igor. But just look at the numbers when it comes to Vasy. This year, not good enough. A 2.9 goals against, damn near 3 goals a game, and a save percentage of 900. And for a good chunk of the season, his save percentage was under 900. It was in the 890s. Now, I know Vasy was banged up. I know he missed the first 20 games of the season. He still played 52 games for a guy that missed 20. I mean, that says a lot. And I know the Tampa Bay Lightning's defense was not really up to par, but at the end of the day, he was still 30 and 20, and he just wasn't as sharp as we're used to seeing. Those aren't Andrei Vasilevsky numbers. The 2.9 when it comes to goals against, highest of his career. The 900 save percentage, the lowest of his career. Now, I haven't really gotten into my preview of the NHL season because I still think it's a little early for that. But the Lightning, if they're going to do anything this season, they need Andrei Vasilevsky to really get back to that Vezina form. No doubt about it. He has to get back to the guy that we knew just a couple of years ago when the Lightning won back-to-back cups and went to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. Because if not, this Lightning team's in trouble. Steven Stamkos is already gone. We'll see how Jake Gensel comes in and makes up for some of that, goal scoring. You get Ryan McDonough back, but Mikhail Sergachev is also on the way out. So he goes to Utah. McDonough returns 2 years older from Nashville. Hopefully it works out for the Bolts, but there's no guarantees. No guarantees at all. But Andrei Vasilevsky, yes, again, if I need one goalie for one game, I'm still probably picking him. But if you got to be honest, if you're talking about guys that are at the top of their game, I think right now Igor and Connor Hellebuck are just a smidge better. All right, let's finish it off with my one last thing. And I always want to do something special here for one last thing. And I want to talk about this guy right here, Pete Fairbanks, the closer for our Tampa Bay Rays. And he got the final 3 outs today for the Tampa Bay Rays as they salvage the series against the St. Louis Cardinals. They don't get swept. And how cool was it for Pete Fairbanks to be able to get those final 3 outs in his hometown, St. Louis guy, a bunch of friends and family there. You felt for the guy. Crazy Eyes Pete Fairbanks. Pete from St. Louis, who called into the final Ronnie and T-Crash show on WDAE. Just an all-around great guy. And he throws in the upper 90s, 100 miles an hour. He's got that devastating slider. He's one of one, that guy. But what really, the reason I really want to tip my hat and I want to kind of just show some love to not just Pete, but his entire family is what happened to him and his wife, Lydia. So Lydia and Pete, unfortunately, lost their daughter Ellis, who likely had Turner syndrome at 9 weeks gestation. And Ellis was with them for a total of 19 weeks and 6 days gestation. And unfortunately, they lost Ellis. And if you know me, this is a very, very sensitive issue because My girlfriend and I, we lost our son, Julius, um, at 18 weeks. And the story of Ellis really hits home. It really does. And the story that was told by Trisha Whitaker and the Bally crew of Ellis is just one. If you've not seen it, you need to go check it out. It is heart wrenching, inspirational, and your heart goes out to the Fairbanks family. And for somebody like myself who's experienced something like that, it's a pain that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. Um, Especially for me, my girlfriend has two daughters, and I love them, and I treat them like my daughters. Um, but for me, it would have been my first child. So to see other people go through that, it doesn't make me feel better, but to see other people's strength that goes through things like this, it's empowering. After it happened to us, I had so many people from the Tampa Bay area, including from the Rays organization, Lightning, Bucks, Rowdies, everybody reach out. And yeah, I'll never forget those people that were there during those tough times. And the strength that my girlfriend showed, the strength that the Fairbanks family showed, and just the love and support that we got from our friends and family through the toughest times, to be able to get support like that, that you cannot put into words what that means. There's no dollar figure that he could ever put on that. That's real worth. You want to talk about being wealthy? I mean, having that type of love and support, that's true wealth. You feel like the richest man in the world when you see the outpouring of love and emotion and affection, and to see how strong the Fairbanks family has been since that tragedy. It's inspiring. So if you want to donate to the Turner Syndrome Foundation, um, they're 29% of the way to their goal of $50,000. Head on over right now, givebutter.com/ZVMXR2. That's givebutter.com/ZVMXR2. They've raised over $14,600. They're trying to get to 50,000. So if we can do anything to help out, please do so. You see some incredible pictures there as well. And you see Pete Fairbanks, they're going to donate $100 to the Turner Syndrome Foundation, with the Rays Baseball Foundation matching the donation for every strikeout for Pete. So, Pete, don't induce any ground balls, strike everybody out, so you can add as much money to the kitty there, because that is certainly a great cause. So congratulations to you, and that's really really awesome that the Fairbanks family has done that. And again, my heart goes out to you. And before we go, I just wanted to send some love. Just saw this come down. Um, Chichi Rodriguez, one of the most iconic golfers of our time, has passed away in Puerto Rico at the age of 88. The Golf Hall of Fame just put out a tweet. A gifted player, entertainer, and humanitarian, World Golf Hall of Famer Juan Chichi Rodriguez of Puerto Rico died Thursday at 88. A 30-time PGA Tour and Champions Tour winner, played on the victorious 1973 Ryder Cup team, and received the 1989 USGA Bob Jones Award. And he did so many things here in the Tampa Bay area as well. The Chichi Rodriguez Golf Course. It was just such a popular name. Where is it? McMullen Booth, 3030 North McMullen Booth Road, right there in Clearwater, not too far from where our studios are in Feather Sound. Did so much for our area, and I remember being in the same vicinity as him during one of the big events here in the Bay Area, and just seeing so many people go up to him, and nobody walked away without a smile. Nobody. What an incredible impact in 88 years. What an awesome life. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope everybody has a great rest of their Thursday night here, 11:34. My dad asked me this question a couple weeks ago. Is there one time that you see more than others? Like, is there a time in the clock? 11:34 is always the one for me. I don't know what it is, but I always see 11:34. I know people say, "Oh, if you flip it up, it says hell." I think that was like a joke growing up as a kid. So now every time I see it, it's just like, we thought that was so cool as a kid. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all the social medias at JRetcher. Make sure you follow all my guys over at WDAE. We are back in action tomorrow at noon on Jay and Zach. We're going to be joined by Sam Munson. He's got some big things going on there, leaving him and Steve Palazzolo, leaving Pro Football Focus, which is, I can't wait to ask him about that. They're going to go over to the 33rd team, continue to do their podcast. Two of the most in tune football voices that we have in our country. And we're so blessed to be able to have those guys on. So we're going to continue our conversations with them, regardless of them being at PFF or not. I'll just drop the baseball here. Can't drop the baseball right here. Never make errors. Never make errors. But yeah, our coverage on WDAE starts at 6 a.m. with Pat and Aaron. So make sure you're tuning in to 95.3 WDAE and AM 620 starting at 6 for the guys. I'm sure they're going to talk some Bucks football ahead of the preseason opener on Saturday against the Bengals up in Cincinnati. All right, everybody. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's going to wrap it up for me. I'm going to hit this light and then I'm going to go to bed. Appreciate everybody. Talk to you soon. Have a great Thursday night. Ciao.